Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our presentation of Living Stations. We just have one request for everyone. At the very end of the presentation, please leave in silence. Grandparents and special guests, parents, please wait until the children have left and headed over to the school before you do so as well. Thank you.
Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that made this heart adore you. hope of a life spent with you. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. King of all kings, oh so highly exalted, glorious in heaven above. Humbly you came to the earth you created, all for love's sake became poor. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. And I'll never know how much it costs to see my sin upon that cross. And I'll never know how much it costs to see my sin upon that cross. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me.
The Stations of the Cross are being presented by 8th graders from St. Michael Catholic School. We ask that you join us for this prayer experience. Please take this time to turn off or silence cell phones or any other electronic devices. Please do not take pictures or videos during this prayer experience, as it is very distracting to the students involved and other members of the congregation. At each station, you will hear the narrator say, "And we pray." Please respond by saying, "God of love, open our hearts." Please try that with me once. And we pray, "God of love, open our hearts." Let us take a moment of quiet reflection before we begin.
The first station, Jesus is condemned. Every day in our world, people are condemned. We hear about it on the evening news or read about it online. Every time someone is discriminated against for being African American, Asian, Hispanic, Jewish, or Muslim. Every time someone has to huddle in a doorway to keep warm or go to bed hungry. Every time someone different from us is made to feel unwelcome or unwanted, someone is being condemned. It happens at school too. There are kids who are constantly the focus of jokes or bullying. They look, speak, or act differently. They don't fit in. Jesus didn't fit in. He did and said things that upset the people in power. The religious leaders wanted him out of the way. Pilate, the man who made the final decision, went along with them. And so, Jesus was condemned to die on a cross. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have condemned you and others, through our actions, our words, our silence, and our indifference. Help us to love and welcome all others as you did. Teach us how to follow you. And we pray, God of love, open our hearts.
The second station, Jesus carries the cross. All around us, people are carrying heavy burdens. We know about some of these burdens, like the ones our parents carry, but we ignore them. We don't know about other burdens, like the ones our teachers or classmates carry. We never seek to understand what they may be going through. On the news, we hear about the problems of others in our own country and all over the world, like war, starvation, and racial injustice. But it is hard to care about things happening to strangers so far away. We allow ourselves to be blind and deaf to their pain. It's easier that way. We have enough to do just taking care of ourselves. Jesus was forced to carry the burden of the cross. Surely there were those in the crowd who knew him. They say the soldiers who dropped the cross on his shoulders were afraid and worried about themselves. They didn't protest the rough treatment he received. They didn't come forward. Jesus, forgive us for the times we walked away from the burdens of others. Help us to stop being blind and deaf to their pain and do something to help. Teach us how to follow you. And we pray, God of love, open our hearts.
The third station. Jesus falls the first time. The worst thing that can happen to us is to fail in front of others. When we do or say something foolish, when we're not accepted for who we are, when we're ridiculed for being different, to be shut out is the worst way to fail. At school events, we know there are kids who are on the outside looking in, but we don't invite them in with us. We worry about what our friends would think. Jesus fell in front of the soldiers, in front of the people who believed in him, in front of his own mother. He was in this situation because he spoke out and took risk to help others. Look where it got him. What must have he been thinking as he lost control and fell under the weight of the cross? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have shut out others and refused to assist them. Help us to be aware of their needs and let them in with us. Teach us how to follow you. And we pray, God of love, open our hearts.
The fourth station, Jesus meets his mother. Parents expect so much of us.
I feel like a motherless child, and I'm a long, long way from home. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, and I'm a long, long way from home.
They want us to succeed. They want us to get good grades, to have good friends, to make the right decisions, to tell the truth, and not to cheat or steal. We want our parents to be proud of us. We don't want them to know about some of the things we do. Mary wanted Jesus to succeed. She wanted people to accept him, to believe in him, to love him. Now she sees him carrying a criminal's cross. Did she think that he was guilty? That he was a failure? Or did she love and support him? Jesus, forgive us for the times that we did not honor or listen to our parents. Help us to be grateful for their love and support. Teach us how to follow you. And we pray, God of love, open our hearts.
The fifth station, Simon helps Jesus. Sometimes a teacher makes us sit next to someone who is different, or makes us help someone who isn't in our group of friends. We don't stop to think about that person's feelings. We only care about how it makes us feel. How does it look to our friends? What if they thought we were friends with this person who is so different? So it was with Simon. Why was he, a foreigner, chosen to help this criminal carry his cross? Did people think he was a criminal too? He was probably embarrassed, and humiliated to be forced into this situation? Was there a moment when he looked past his own feelings and looked at Jesus with compassion? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have hurt others by not caring how they feel, by not putting their feelings ahead of our own. Show us how to act out of love and compassion. Teach us how to follow you. And we pray, God of love, open our hearts.
The sixth station, Veronica wipes Jesus' face. There are people who stand up for what's right. When those around them are drinking or smoking, tearing someone down, or telling lies, this person speaks up. This person says, "Hey, this isn't right. This isn't good. I refuse to go along." This person will not bow to peer pressure. Veronica stood up for what was right. Her sympathy and compassion overcame her fear, and she came forward to wipe the blood and sweat from Jesus' face. She didn't stop to think about the consequences or herself. At that moment, she only thought about the needs of Jesus. Jesus, forgive us for the times we didn't stand up for what was right. Help us to have the courage to be a good example to others and to be the change we want to see. Teach us how to follow you, and we pray, God of love, open our hearts.
The seventh station, Jesus falls again. Failure is a terrible thing. None of us want to be a failure, especially in the eyes of our friends. Our parents or teachers may sometimes be disappointed in us, but when our friends are, it's too much. All day, we are concerned about what our friends think. We work hard to be good friends, but sometimes they fail us. They don't stand by us when we need them, in spite of all of our efforts to please them. When Jesus fell again, what were his concerns? Was he worried about what his friends thought? And where were his friends? Why didn't any of them step forward on his behalf? Was he angry or hurt? What was he thinking as he fell to the ground a second time? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have failed to be there for others. Help us to be as caring for others as you are for us. Teach us how to follow you. And we pray, God of love, open our hearts.
The eighth station, the women weep for Jesus. Sometimes a crowd mentality takes over at school, on the bus, at a dance or a party. Things we would never do seem okay when everyone else is doing them. We tend to cheer louder, dance harder, act crazier, mistreat others, and break rules or laws when we're in a crowd. The women in the crowd who wept for Jesus were crying because the situation called for tears. The crowd was stirred up and noisy. Frightening things were going on. The women were too curious to leave, but too afraid to remain silent. So they cried. As Jesus passed by, he heard them. He told them to stop their phony crying and to weep instead for the evil being done. He asked them to follow their own hearts, not the crowd. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have gone along with the crowd instead of taking responsibility for our own actions. Help us to control what we think and do. Teach us how to follow you, and we pray. God of love, open our hearts.
The ninth station. Jesus falls the third time. To be made fun of once is bad enough. To have it happen again and again is agony. Yet, there are people in our school, on our bus, or in our neighborhood who are made fun of or bullied all the time. And we do it too sometimes. They don't fit in, they don't belong, so it's okay. Everyone does it. Everyone sees how different they are. Rather than reaching out to them, we just keep knocking them down again and again and again. Jesus fell 3 times with the cross on his shoulders. All those people were watching, but what were they thinking? He had helped so many of them, but none of them had the courage to come forward and help him. Were they afraid? Or was it that Jesus was no longer one of them, so they let him fall? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have made fun of others. Give us the courage to stand up to bullies, no matter who they are, and the strength to lift up the victims of bullying, even if they are different from us. Teach us how to follow you, and we pray. God of love, open our hearts.
The 10th station. Jesus is stripped. Clothes are a big part of our lives. The right clothes cost a lot, sometimes more than our parents can afford, but we insist on having them. We want to look right. Without the right clothes, we're afraid we won't fit in. Jesus was stripped of his clothing in front of a whole crowd of people. He stood there without the comfort and security of his clothes. He was stripped of his dignity like a common criminal. Without his clothes, how must have he felt? Jesus, forgive us for the times we have valued material things over people. Help us to never value designer labels more than the needs of others. Teach us how to follow you, and we pray. God of love, open our hearts.
The 11th station. Jesus is nailed to the cross. At times, we do the wrong thing. We say hateful things about people who look different than us, who come from a different country, who have a different faith, or have different views. We believe lies about people because they are different. We are afraid of them because they are different. We decide that they are wrong and we are better because they are different. We join others who laugh at them, who hate them, who spread lies. In our hearts, we know it is wrong, but we go along with it anyway. Jesus was the victim of hate, fear, and jealousy because he was different. He had stirred the people up. He said and done different things. He valued truth. He accepted all people equally, exactly as they were, without thinking about their differences. Now, he was paying the price. There must have been those in the crowd who knew this was wrong, but they went with the way things were. They stood by and let Jesus be nailed to the cross. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have nailed others to the cross because they were different. Show us how to love and value all people just as you did. Teach us how to follow you. And we pray, God of love, open our hearts.
The 12th station. Jesus dies on the cross. We all think about dying from time to time. It's a thought that comes to us when everything seems to be going wrong. When a boyfriend or girlfriend rejects us, when our grades are slipping, when we disappoint our parents or teachers, or when we can't seem to do anything right. We are tempted to believe that death is easier than facing our problems. Is this what Jesus was feeling as he died? Was he hoping to get it over with? Or was he worried about his friends, his mother, or his followers? Was he angry at God and at life? What did he mean when he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do"? Was he so forgiving that he could pray for those who hurt him, who took his life? Jesus, forgive us for the times we gave up too easily because we were only thinking of ourselves. Share with us the ability to forgive others for the hurt they have caused us. Teach us how to follow you, and we pray. God of love, open our hearts.
The 13th station. Jesus is taken down from the cross. Sometimes we clearly recognize a lost cause, a sport team that never wins, a band that can't make good music, a friendship that is completely broken. We don't want to be part of a lost cause, but sometimes we are. We're on a losing team, or in that band, or a part of that friendship. What then? Joseph of Arimathea, a secret follower of Jesus, who was afraid of the leaders, finally came forward after Jesus had died. He claimed the body of this criminal. What made him do it? Wasn't he still afraid of being part of a lost cause? Jesus, forgive us for the times we walk away from painful situations and from the people in them. Give us courage to act on our beliefs, no matter how afraid we feel. Teach us how to follow you. And we pray, God of love, open our hearts.
The 14th station. Jesus is placed in the tomb. When we have worked hard at something, we expect to be rewarded. A good grade, praise from our parents, cheers from the fans. We certainly don't want to be blamed or punished for doing our best. It happens sometimes to people we don't know, and we walk away from them. We only want to hang out with winners. Jesus spent his life preaching, healing, and helping others. He promised good things to those who followed him. He died on the cross, and it seemed he was not rewarded for all of the good that he had done. At this moment of sorrow and failure, his followers had abandoned him, and he was buried in another man's grave. Jesus, forgive us for the times we have measured our success by the applause and praise of others. Help us to look beneath the surface of things with the eyes of faith. Teach us how to follow you, and we pray, God of love, open our hearts.
Dear Jesus, as your followers, we know that rejection, loss, and even death aren't failure. They aren't the end. With your help, we can get through these experiences to new life and resurrection. We can be turned around as you were. Give us the courage to accept that life will always have its light and its darkness, its joys and its sorrows. Jesus, we know that your story did not end on Good Friday, and so we go now in peace to await the resurrection.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. ways to sing God's praise than when we'd first begun.